Greetings, family and friends, greeting comrades. Today I want us to look at a simple analysis on how ZANU PF has failed Zimbabwe. We all know that Zimbabwe is a failed state. ZANU PF, the ruling party in Zimbabwe, has failed to fulfill the hopes of the people. ZANU PF came to power in 1980 after a long liberation struggle. The people expected freedom, dignity, development, and a better life. More than 40 years later, many Zimbabweans are still suffering. This shows that the party has failed to govern in a way that truly saves the nation. We are going to look at how ZANU PF has transitioned from being liberators to rulers. ZANU PF was born as a liberation movement. It fought against colonial rule and racial oppression. This was a just and important struggle. However, after independence, the party slowly changed. It moved from being a servant of the people to being a controller of the state. Power became more important than the people. Instead of building strong democratic institutions, the party built a strong party system that protects itself. This shift marked the beginning of Zimbabwe's crisis. Now we are going to look at the economic collapse and poverty. One of the clearest signs of failure in a nation is the economy. Zimbabwe was once called the breadbasket of Africa. Today, many people cannot afford basic food. That's a pity. The country has faced repeated current collapses, high inflation and massive unemployment. Many factories have closed. Millions of Zimbabweans have been forced to leave the country to look for work in South Africa, Botswana, the United Kingdom, and other nations. A government that drives its people into exile has failed in its basic duty to provide economic stability and opportunity. We are going to look at corruption and elite enrichment. Another major failure is corruption. Over the years, many scandals have involved top government officials, public funds, land, mining, and foreign deals. While ordinary people struggle to survive, a small political elite lives in great wealth. This shows that national resources are not being used for national development, but for personal benefit. Corruption destroys hospitals, schools, roads, and public trust. When corruption becomes normal, the future of the nation is stolen. That is the story of Zimbabwe. We are going to look at suppression of democratic space. ZANU PF has also failed Zimbabwe by weakening democracy. Elections are often disputed. Opposition parties, journalists, and civil society groups face intimidation, arrests, and violence. Fear has been used as a political tool. When citizens cannot freely speak, organize, or choose their leaders, development becomes impossible. True independence means people rule, not parties. Zimbabwe's struggle today is not against colonial rule, but against political domination. Number 5. Social breakdown and loss of hope. The political and economic crisis has damaged the social fabric of the nation. Hospitals lack medicine, schools struggle, young people grow up without jobs or clear futures, families are separated by migration, drug abuse and depression are rising. A nation without hope is a wounded nation. Leadership is not only about controlling the state, it is about protecting the soul of a people. On this level too, ZANU PF has failed. ZANU PF's greatest failure is not only bad policy, but betrayal of the liberation vision. The struggle was about dignity, justice, and life. Today, many Zimbabweans experience poverty, fear, and expulsion. This gap between promise and reality defines the crisis. Zimbabwe does not need new slogans. It needs moral renewal, accountable leadership, and people-centered governance. Until power serves the people instead of itself, Zimbabwe's suffering will continue. So this is what the government of Zimbabwe must do. They must put people first before everything. A people-centered government will redeem Zimbabwe. The problem of ZANU PF is that they've put the party before the people. The party is more important than the country. That is where the problem starts from. We need in Zimbabwe a government that cares for its people, that values its people, that puts its people first. That is what is needed. Once we get such leadership, which can tackle corruption and put people first, then the country will rise again. Thank you for watching. This is the Rebirth of Africa movement. Please, in the comment box, like our link and subscribe. Thank you very much.